There's a quote on your Instagram that's pinned to your grid that I freaking love, and I read it often. All right, I read it often. It says, "Joy is possible even in the hard moments." So my take on that is joy is a choice. All right, now, because this kind of leads into the book that's coming out in 2025. So,
Yeah.
talk about that. Let's get what does that mean to you, and how can folks use that?
Well, I do think joy is a choice, and it's possible, even even through an authentic catastrophe. If I
Yeah.
can talk, on the way here, I was driving and I saw Dairy Queen, and
Stop it.
I know a Dairy Queen, and you know what it reminded me of? It was the first time when I was a little kid and I ever kind of experienced joy. I didn't even know what that was at the time, but football's big in Texas, and I don't know why my mom would let me do this, but I would go after to the Dairy Queen with all the people from the band and some of the cheerleaders and football players. And I was little. I was probably, I don't know, maybe 7. And I would just start dancing. They'd put music in the jukebox would be playing, and they'd put me on a tabletop and I would dance, and it just brought so much joy. But it wasn't just because I was dancing, but I could see people's eyes light up and they were smiling and they would start clapping to the music and dancing themselves. And I thought, I want to do this. I want to feel like this all the time. And so going through some, we all go through challenges. Well, I don't know, maybe Ethan's childhood is perfect, but rarely, is your childhood perfect. And I had a lot going on. My parents got divorced, and then I was sexually abused by my stepfather. And I remember consciously, like, I wanted to have joy despite the pain that I was going through. And so I made an effort to do things that made me feel good, that brought joy. And so that's when I got into dancing and became an athlete and started running. And so I think that it is a choice. And now not being an entrepreneur is sometimes tough. It can be hard. But on top of it, I was diagnosed with an incurable nerve disease called complex regional pain syndrome. And it's really been a choice. I could sit there and feel sorry for myself and think of all the bad things or the things that I'm not able to do, or I can focus on the good. And I feel like when we hunt for the good gets better. We are able to find joy. And then recently, I will share something that we have. Our dog passed away kind of unexpectedly. I mean, she was a little older, and she was with me through surgeries, and she was part of the family. And I could not stop crying. I mean, I could not stop crying. And I thought, well, I've got to do something that is going to bring me joy. Not that I was trying to like stuff down the feelings. I wanted to acknowledge it, but then, well, what can I do to get through this? And so here we're coming on, one of my favorite holidays, Christmas. And I thought, I am going to decorate the Christmas tree. So I put the Christmas tree up earlier than I've ever put it up. And then I thought, even if I'm crying while I'm putting the Christmas tree up, at least it is sparking some joy. Then I thought, I just need to go out and smile at someone. I need to see them smile back at me. And I don't think we're meant to do hard things alone. And so I purposely went to Home Goods, and I thought, I am going to do some joy spotting. Like everywhere I go, I want to just see some joy. And when I walked into Home Goods, the first thing I saw was a sign that said joy. And I was like, okay, that's a God wink right there. And so
they spotted it.
Yeah. And then I would just smile at people, and it just brought joy just to see them smile back. I just needed to smile. I just needed to, get out. And so I think that, we can create more joy, whether it is being of service, getting out there and smiling at somebody, practicing gratitude, moving your body moves your mood. And so there are times when I don't really feel like moving, or I'm in a lot of pain, but I know that if I move, that I am going to feel better. not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, I'm going to feel better.
Absolutely. I heard from the pulpit not long ago, very recently, and I love it, that gratefulness and entitlement cannot coexist. Oh, absolutely. Right. So, and basically what I heard when you were talking right there was that like you find what you're looking for. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for joy, you'll find it. How would you like, it's all right. So I remember years ago when I can't remember what it was, but it was time to get a new car. So now all of a sudden you got to pick out what car I'm looking for. And once I figured, it was kind of like when I like my favorite, I got a Jeep. I love my Jeep. It's my favorite car. It's all I've ever wanted. And we're about to get another one. That's going to be his first car when he turns 16. It'll be Jeep. But, well, we're almost there, righty? We're almost there. But
I'm a big fan of Jeeps too.
Oh gosh, they're so much fun. They're so much fun.
I had a CJ7, a CJ5, and so much fun.
That's right. When you like, before I was actually thinking about buying a Jeep, I didn't notice them on the road. And then all of a sudden when I started, like subconsciously, I just started to notice them all over the place. And it's, again, you see like what you're looking for, you usually find, right? So joy is a choice. And, but Amberly, for me, when all the change was happening with my wife and I, even though like you're aware of what you should be doing, it's still hard to do it day in and day out, over and over and over again, when maybe your habits are seeing dark things or bad things or non-joyous things. What are some of the ways that you apply, like the knowledge that you're getting, or that you're applying whatever it is that you're working for day in and day out, like finding joy?
Well, I think it's practice, and I have a gratitude practice, and I say practice because it does take practice, and I think it takes accountability as well. And so I have a group of ladies, we call ourselves the God Squad, and we actually text each other every single day what we're grateful for. And I think the key is to know, everybody's different, but to know what sparks joy in your life. And, here I had survived this horrific motorcycle accident, had 34 surgeries to save my leg from amputation, and I survived all of that only to be slowly killing myself, like just driving myself into the ground. I used to pride myself on thinking, I've got grit. When you've got grit, there is no quit. And then I was like, I had a lot of misconceptions about grit. And what I realized is I could not have joy in my life if I was just constantly grinding and just gritting it out. I was missing a key component. I mean, I mistook health scares for heroic acts, sacrifice for success, fear for function, stubbornness for strength. And I convinced myself that this was grit and this was good. And what I learned is grit without connection is just resistance. And it's nearly impossible to spark joy. And, did I get a little?
Oh, yeah, you're going to be getting a lot of them today. I owe you about 4 right now. I'm backlogging here. I keep receipts.
Then I realized grit with connection is where you find resilience. It's where you're able to find joy and build upon the joy. But I was, you talked about habits. I was letting the things that I call like my non-negotiables, I was letting them slip. Like I'd stopped doing my reading in the morning. I stopped my gratitude practice. I got sober in 2016. I stopped going to meetings as much.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. I started, I went from being this elite athlete to full-blown alcoholic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, by the grace of God, I got sober. I was self-medicating. It wasn't like I was going to the bars and living it up. And I was just trying to get out of pain, and none of the medical treatments that I had done were working. And I discovered, wine kind of helps numb out this pain, and it worked until it didn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Did you build first of all, you build a tolerance to those things, and so you're constantly having to add more to accomplish the same result.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not easy, because now it's like twice the pain. The pain that you were trying to numb is there, and then it hurts coming off those things.
Oh, it was a vicious cycle. I was, drinking to try to numb out the pain, but alcohol is an inflammatory. So the pain would come back with a vengeance. And I would just get as much as I could during the day done and then just start knocking them back. And the gig was up. I thought I was like hiding it. And it was very obvious that I was not hiding it from anyone. I mean, it took some skill. You know, my husband is retired now, but he was lieutenant commander with a highway patrol. So to sneak your drinking.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah. Thank
you for your service. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, one of the things that I admire about you most, okay, is when, so, you know, we all take a lot of pride in our appearances. Okay, like it's kind of like the packaging, you know, that of what it is. And I remember when I was trying to figure out who Nick Hiter was after professional baseball, I was like, man, it dawned on me one day when I looked in the mirror and I saw the baseball player, and I'm like, but I don't play baseball anymore. So I was like, if I see the same person, I've got to give everybody a shot to see me different. So I did it. I changed my whole entire appearance, almost polar opposite from as what I was as an athlete, just so people would say he's different. Right. So I wanted to give people a chance. But with the motorcycle accident, it's like it's no, you're wearing beautiful red pants today. However, you don't hide the scars that the injury left. As a matter of fact, they are a trophy for you because you've overcame those. And like, it's something that a lot of insecure people might try to hide.
I did for a while.
Okay. I want to talk about that because like that is huge. I admire that so much about you.
Well, thank you. I was, you know, being an athlete, professional dancer, athlete. My nickname used to be Legs in the gym. Like,
my gosh.
I mean, I would lift with the men, the bodybuilders, and keep up with them. So to have this motorcycle accident and be completely scarred from the hip down, you know, my ankles fused. I hated my leg. I hated myself. I had so much shame.
Yeah.
And in fact, the pain had gotten so bad and nothing was working for the pain. And so I went into my doctor and I said, Dr. Wiss, I appreciate you doing 34 surgeries to save this leg, but we need to go ahead and cut it off. And he's like, well, we can't do that. And I'm like, no, it's giving me too much pain. I just want to move on. He goes, well, you have complex regional pain syndrome. If you amputate, it could make it worse. It could spread. And then he did something that changed my life. It changed everything. He sat in front of me and he put my leg on his lap. And usually, you know, they'd put your leg up on the table or something, but he looked at my leg like it was a masterpiece. And I just started crying in that moment. And I thought, wow, if he can look at my leg that way, maybe I can learn to look at it that way as
Perspective.
well. It just shifted my perspective, and it really got me into acceptance, for accepting all the scars and looking at them as like, wow, look at how the body can heal. Look how amazing and strong the human spirit is. And I think that really any transformation starts with acceptance and getting radically honest with yourself.
Yeah, man, I couldn't have said it any better.